Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about a subject that's been covered many times, but I still think it's worth talking about. The SM57 by Shure. I, out of necessity, had to record most of my album with a couple mics. Last year, when I was working on this thing, me and my wife discovered mold in our house, and it became this big saga. And we ended up moving out and into my in-laws' place while they were out of town long term. So it worked out. We were really blessed to be able to do that, and they were super generous and lent us their house, and that was a huge deal. While I was over there, I didn't want to be in my house where all my gear was, so I brought a super basic setup over, a laptop, a couple guitars, a little interface, and I think I just brought a single 57. I ended up bringing over another one later, but a large portion of this album was tracked with just 57, at least the guitars and vocals. I got used to the sound, and I got used to knowing what to do and how to manipulate the sound to turn it into something I liked, and that was very familiar. I mean, you've heard these microphones all over the place for years and years and years. One of my favorite things to do for it on my vocals is just toss on an LA2A plug-in. Like the analog, if you don't have an LA2A, I would definitely recommend one. It just smooths things out. It sounds like a record. Super simple, super straightforward. You can't really mess it up unless you go crazy extreme with it, but sometimes that's a cool effect. But yeah, Analog Obsessions has one for free. Waves has theirs. I was using Universal Audio's. Yeah, it's definitely worth getting. I love the sound of that for vocals and bass. And acoustic guitar, it's great. It just kind of smooths things out. It's a really smooth compressor, I would say. It adds a little, yeah, it just makes it sound like a record to me. I don't know how else to describe it, but I was using that on vocals, and I also like the Sound Toys SciQ. It's a really straightforward, simple, easy to use EQ that also has a built-in saturation circuit. Eric Valentine is an engineer and producer who talks about this EQ a lot, and I watch a lot of his YouTube videos. He's great, check him out. But it's a really versatile, no nonsense, easy to use plugin, and it'll sound good on most anything you throw at it. So for vocals, I just crank the top end a lot. I mean, like 9 or 10 dB, and it brings out the 57 can have kind of a muddy quality on vocals. So just crank the top end, toss on an optical compressor, maybe a little saturation here or there, a tape plug-in, tape simulator, good to go. And I did that with acoustic guitar too, and I recently bought, or in a trade, I acquired a, let's see, Mic and Mod M9, which is, apparently it's a clone of a Neumann M49, which are very rare and expensive. And who knows if this thing is anywhere close to the original, but I'm very happy with it. But yeah, once I got back to the studio, once we were done with all the mold stuff and got back to my studio, my home studio, I started using that thing on acoustic guitar and vocals, and I really like it. It's very clean. You can drive it, and it gets a little gritty, but I don't know. I just kind of missed the 57 guitar sound, acoustic guitar sound. It just sounds like an older record, which I'm just more into. I'm more into the 70s sound, mono. I don't know. I just like it, so I started going back to the 57 over the expensive condenser tube mic. Now I have that on my drums as my drum overhead, and I'm experimenting with that. I don't know, I'm always going through and changing stuff up. Right now on the drums, I'm using a 3 mics setup, a Beta 52 on the kick, a 57 on the snare, and this M49 clone on a mono overhead. And I'm experimenting with where that sounds the best. Got it pretty low to the whole drum kit, kind of smack dab in the middle, trying to pick up a little bit of everything. It works well as a crotch mic too. I like it there. Anything wider than that, my room, it's okay. It's a very small room. I've got lots of sound panels, but I don't know. I just don't love the sound of my room, and so I tend to stick mics closer to the drums just to get that. And I like the close mic drum sound. I think it's cool. Yeah, I must remind myself, because I must remind myself to use what you have. There's a saying, what's the best camera to use? What's the best microphone to use? It's the mic that you have in your hand, that you don't have to go buy. And I spend way too much time on Facebook Marketplace and Reverb.com and watching YouTube tutorials on this or that, and I don't know what that is. It's like a distraction. You'd rather watch someone else do what you love to do. It's a weird thing that I want to work on. I want to have less input and more output. And I think the Shure SM57 is like the perfect microphone to represent that attitude and that kind of ethos. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.